If I were to ask you, what are the leading causes of death in the United States, you would probably guess cancer, heart disease, and you would be correct. But the 10th leading cause of death in the United States is death by suicide. It's unfortunate because there are so many resources out there to help prevent suicide, as well as resources to help people deal with the loss because of suicide. We caught up with a man who credits one local program with helping him cope after he lost his father to suicide.
In June of last year, June 21st, on Father's Day, I lost my father to suicide. It's probably the most difficult thing I ever had to deal with.
Ben Gutierrez has a large, loving family, friends, and a husband of 3 years. They all wanted to help him get through the loss of his father, but his family was going through it too, and other loved ones simply didn't know how to help.
And then when it comes to my best friends and my husband, I quickly realized that they didn't really know what to tell me. Of course they were there and being supportive, but they just didn't know what to say, and so that's what made me want to reach out to people who understood that may possibly gone through the same thing I did.
So he did a little research and landed here, the website for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. He filled out a quick information form, and the very next day he was paired up with a volunteer with the Foundation's Healing Conversation program, someone who had been through a similar experience.
I mean, he also lost somebody who was also in the military, and after that first initial email, we exchanged phone numbers and we ended up talking over the phone. And it was a little awkward at first, talking to a stranger over the phone about, but he was very inviting, very, just telling me, saying that I could just tell my story and just, tell me what happened. And, I just eventually just let it all out.
He says this voice at the other end of a phone line was a lifeline for him. Here, there was no judgment and no need to be hesitant about expressing feelings. As a former military man himself, he felt he was supposed to help everyone else cope, but he needed help too.
I felt like with my family, I always held back in terms of like what I was thinking because I didn't want to make them super emotional. And with him, it was just going, I was able to open up completely.
Basically what it is there are trained volunteers. All of us who are trained will be able to provide support for people that also have a loss by suicide.
Michele Freeman is the board chairperson for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, or AFSP. The foundation focuses on 4 strategies: funding scientific research, education, policy advocacy, and matching people up who've been through a situation involving suicide with people who need an understanding ear. That pairing is a vital aspect of healing conversation, which makes the brief form that must be filled out so important.
The form allows us, so the person that's going to set you up with someone that's best suitable for your specific conversation, it allows us to know a little bit about the journey you've already been on, what your loss is, who your loss was, and anything else that you might want us to know. For instance, if you have a religious preference or something of that sort.
Freeman says it usually only takes that one opening conversation with the trained volunteer to help steer those suffering from the loss onto a road to recovery.
It's not meant to be a replacement of counseling. It's not meant to take over the journey that you're on with your grief counselor, perhaps. It's not meant to be an ongoing relationship for the rest of your life. It's meant to give you resources, provide you hope and comfort during your time, and to make sure that you know that you're not alone, that other people are here for you that have experienced a similar loss and have a nice listening ear so that you can feel a little bit of that comfort during your time of need.
Ben has advice for others in his situation.
Keeping things bottled up is not very, it doesn't work well all the time. So being able to get things off your chest and, just talk to a random stranger who understands what you went through I think would help you as well.
He says he learned and healed more in a 2-hour conversation with the Foundation's volunteer than he had in the months after his father's death trying to cope on his own. But he knows there's more work ahead.
It's ongoing. It's not like it's over, it's like it's never really over. So it's just an everyday type of struggle. But with Healing Conversations, I feel like it's always there if I need it, and so I could always go back to it if necessary, and I could open up to the person that I originally opened up to.
If you or someone you know has lost a loved one by suicide, you're invited to visit the website at afsp.org. And we want to thank Ben for coming forward. Your courage and your story are going to help others.